Hi, my name is Steve Tracy, and today I'm going to be doing my topic on wisdom and leadership. And the reason I chose this was because we're all going to be graduating here pretty soon and headed to either graduate school or jobs, and we're all going to have to take on leadership roles. So I think it's important to really understand what it really means to be a true and wise leader. My thesis for this presentation is to achieve the wisdom associated with leadership, one must be an effective, true leader. This begins with self-leadership and then results in leadership without ego. So first I'm going to start out with a little TED Talk, just real quick, like it's about 2.5 minutes, kind of where I got the idea from. So.
Then you have the skill that everybody should have, is to be a leader. I went to China, lived there for 13 years. I built a company, started with a handful of people, and we ended up with 8,000 people. We had to build a factory to house 8,000 people. On occasion, I would go to Guangzhou and walk around and inspect the site. I have a technical background, so I felt I had a little bit of expertise in construction. And one monsoon rainy afternoon, we're walking along by the foundation, and I look down in the ditch and I see 5 or 6 men working, and they're installing a sewer pipe. And they had a level. And I'm looking down and I see that they're making the pipes level. Well, I have enough technical background to know that a level pipe's not going to flow. And it's going to get buried under the foundation. So we're going to have lifetime problems, because we'll never get to this to fix it. So I thought about telling them how to fix it, and then I realized I didn't speak Chinese. So I took off my shoes and I jumped in the trench. I know that a 1-inch pebble underneath one end of the level will be just about 2% grade. That's what we needed. So without saying a word, I grabbed the level, I took a rock and I held it, I went back 2 pipes, and I raised it up and I signaled for them to put some sand under the pipe, and we got it just right. And then I went to the next pipe, and then I did it again, and then on the 3rd pipe I handed it to the men in the trench. And I had them hold the pebble under the level until I got it just right. Then I asked them to do one more, and they did. And then I got out of the trench, took my shoes and went back to the hotel. That incident became viral in the company. I had no idea what was going to happen. But inside I was realizing what Bob Townsend had told me. If I had pushed them, and I had yelled at them and told them what to do, I probably wouldn't know where they were going. But by grabbing the level and pulling them, showing them exactly what to do without saying a single word, in a totally different culture, they listened. That incident went through the whole company, and they realized that it was a symbol that I would jump in the trenches with them.
All right, so I think that is a great example of kind of explaining what it really means to be a true leader. And then I kind of got a quote from the Tao Te Ching, which I think kind of helps explain this a little bit more, where it says, "A leader is best when people barely know he exists. Of a good leader who talks little, when his work is done, his aim fulfilled, they say, we did this ourselves." So I think this kind of goes along with that YouTube video too, because when he was in that ditch working on the sewer pipes, he didn't even have to say a word, and he was still able to lead them. And he eventually got it so that they were able to do it. And I'm sure by the end that they were done fixing the pipes, they were all saying, like, we did this ourselves. So I think that's a pretty great example. So my thesis, I said that leadership begins with self-leadership. So what that means is great leaders begin with self-awareness and move to self-management, then proceed to other awareness, culminating in other management. So what does that really mean? So these are 4 different aspects of self-leadership. So self-awareness is the ability to acknowledge and understand one's values, perspectives, strengths, weaknesses, leadership qualities, and emotional needs, which I think a lot of people can do, but then moving into self-management is where it kind of gets a little more tricky. And that's the ability to harness one's own passions, abilities, emotions, and leadership capacity in decision-making. And then once that is achieved, then this is where it starts becoming like a leader for others with other awareness. And it's pretty similar to self-awareness, but it's the ability to acknowledge and understand the passion, strengths, weaknesses, and potential and needs of others. And then finally, that culminates in other management, which is the ability to grow and motivate other people to develop their potential and fulfill the organization's objectives. And that's true leadership right there, is when you finally get people to follow through to the total objective. And some leaders are conscious of themselves and stuck in self-awareness, but they cannot manage themselves and move into that self-management. And they cannot control, especially their emotions and weaknesses, which show that they lack self-control. But if we are able to move on to other awareness and other management, there's appreciation for others, there's a prevention of derailment, ensuring long-term success, and most importantly, leaving a legacy. So a little bit on leadership with ego, which I think to be a true and wise leader, one needs to achieve. This all comes from that TED Talk too, where Bob Davis, he starts out by saying the difference between management and leadership. Management is having control. And in business, he calls this the triple constraint, which is money, time, and quality. Those are things that you can control. But with people, you need to lead people. You cannot control people if you want them to get what you want to do. And he also says in leadership, a leader should subordinate himself or herself to the lowest man or woman on the totem pole. And this gives the leadership back to the people, and like I said, they are able to be like, we did this, we achieved this. I think a great example of this is Gandhi. And Gandhi, the religion that he followed was called, I believe it's pronounced Jainism, soft J, I'm not sure. And it's an ancient religion from India that teaches that the way to liberation and to bliss is to live a life of harmlessness and renunciation. And he was a major leader in India's independence movement when they were trying to gain independence from Britain. And he opposed discriminatory legislation through non-violent civil disobedience. And through this, he became the leader of the Indian National Congress in 1915. And through all this, he became a beacon of hope, and it still is a beacon of hope to many people throughout the world that are being oppressed and marginalized throughout the world. He was able to inspire leaders such as Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and many other people. And in closing, being an effective leader, one must include understanding the wisdom of leadership, and it all begins with self-leadership, which includes self-awareness, self-management, other awareness, and other management. And to finally be a true and wise leader, one must have leadership without ego. And leaders can be anyone. Like I said, we're all going to be moving into the next phase of our life, so I think it's important to know that really anyone can be a leader in any aspect of life. You just need to be able to step up and understand what it truly means to be a leader. Here are my references. Thank you for listening.